Thank you. Hi folks, I hope you're all going to ask me about the 40,000 building products that are now available to be used in New Zealand. It's an ACT Party dream that's become a reality, making it cheaper to build and have a place to live where for too long councils have been gatekeeping everything you're allowed to use. It's the kind of deregulation approach that actually makes life more affordable in this case, making it easier to get products we know are safe because Australians are using them, and as we know, Australians are very smart people.
What do you make of Nicola Willis instigating a review into COVID-19 monetary policy?
Well, it's absolutely the right thing to do. During COVID, the Reserve Bank lost its mind and we're still paying for it. You know, they were printing money to prop up the government's COVID response. They've admitted that they took 1% off the government's cost of borrowing so they could keep us locked down, make it feel like we were winning, when we were really just racking up inflation that we're still paying for today in the cost of living.
I guess people say, why now? You could have done this 2 years ago. That review's going to come out two months before the start of the election, and it could be used as more of a political football than actually any meaningful review. What would you say to that?
Well, you know, if you're asking us to time travel, we do have a lot of powers, but that's not one of them. We can't do it in the past, but we can do it now, so that's why we're doing it now.
But why wasn't it done? Why wasn't it done, I think is the question. Why wasn't this conversation had when you guys came into government?
Well, I don't think anyone's accusing this government of not having been extremely busy and getting a lot done. In fact, we've been accused of passing too many laws. If you think that some grand conspiracy not to have done everything in the first 2 years, I can tell you it's just a matter of doing things as you're available to do them.
If it's been so busy, and a number of ministers often remark on how busy the executive is at the moment, why is there a need to get it done before the election?
Well, it's not been done for that reason. It's been done because it's an important thing.
Why does it need to be done by September?
I don't believe it does need to be done. It can be done by December. It can be done by September, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's no grand conspiracy here. It's an important thing. We can't do everything at once. We're doing this now, and having a reflection on the way that the Reserve Bank printed money to prop up a COVID response, set off inflation, created huge hurt in households up and down this country. We've got to get stuck into the bottom of that, and now we're doing it.
Why does it need to be done at all, though? I mean, you've been very forthright about your views on what happened in the past. It's unlikely this is going to change your mind.
Well, actually, I often change my mind when I see new facts, Craig. I think I'm very offended you'd suggest it wouldn't. I suspect that it will say what I've been saying for a long time. And the other problem, Craig, is it may surprise you, but not everyone believes me. So maybe it's worth having a few other people point out that if you abandon sensible economics in a crisis, you end up poorer and less able to deal with crises.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, folks.
Let's go briefly. What do you make of Shane Jones? What do you make of Shane Jones's comments around the regional power infrastructure, the regional infrastructure financing, about half the loan books at risk of default? He said that's what governments are for.
Well, he's right. Governments do waste money. Nobody spends money, taxpayers' money, as carefully as they spend their own. And the fact is, if a business is asking a politician for someone else's money, it's because everyone investing their own money's already said no, which tells me it's not a good investment.
Are you worried about the fact that half of the book is a kind of not a strict accounting term, either in default or at risk of it?
Of course I am. I'm a taxpayer like 3.5 million other poor bastards that have to give up their money for this crap, and chances are we won't get it back and it won't deliver the thing that was promised.
Winston Peters has accepted a petition today calling for Pacific nations to get faster, cheaper access to New Zealand in times of emergency. Things like
you mean like visas or?
Faster access to the country that many other countries also already enjoy.
Yeah. So you mean like a visa waiver?
Yes, yeah. Will the coalition be looking at that?
Look, that would be up to the Minister of Immigration. I've got some sympathy for it. I've had people in the Pacific community approach me and say, look, why are we different? Why can't we come? On the other hand, you need to be sure that people who get these privileges are going to return. If you don't have the ability to screen people as they come in, you can get overstays. There are a number of countries that we have good relations with, but we still require the citizens to have a visa, and that's just a harsh reality. Generally, if a country has much lower incomes than New Zealand, there's a big incentive for people to come and not go home. That's why we check them with visas. I also just make the point, and I have made inquiries about this because I'm sympathetic to people. They say, look, if there's a funeral or an emergency that a person, a citizen from one of our Pacific friend countries needs to get to Auckland quickly, then they will usually give them every attention and get that visa done super quick. And that might be the best way to do it.
I mean, the United States is the third most number of overstays in the country at the moment. Why does this not apply to them? What does that concern apply to them?
So you're saying that the third largest number of overstays in New Zealand is American citizens in New Zealand?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's news to me. But you know what? Maybe that's something you got to look at. I mean, on the other hand, you might ask yourself, what's the rate? They're the fourth most populous country on earth. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a high absolute number. But they're actually, as I understand it, one of the greatest sources of tourists to New Zealand these days. So there you go.
Can I ask about the Social Investment Agency?
Yeah.
What ACT Party's view is and where it is at the moment. Are you happy with their output and what they're doing?
Well, I don't look at it closely. You'd have to ask Nicola Willis about that. But the basic concepts of if we spend $1 today, we're going to save in the future, that's a good concept. So far as is it being executed well, that's something you'd have to ask Nicola Willis about. She's the responsible minister.
Just one question about, there was talk when the Cabinet signed this off about moving the funding part of the Social Investment Agency, if you can recall this, into maybe something outside which could possibly look like a Crown agency, just to remove it. Do you think that's appropriate?
Well, again, I don't think there's a current government policy to do that. But I think if you can find people in the community that can do a better job, whether it's a charter school or a social investment bond, that can be a good idea. And I think we've got to be honest with ourselves. A lot of social services aren't delivering. People pay a third to half their money in taxes. And you go out on the street and there's still lots of people not getting on very well. So if there's better ways to do social service, I think we should be open-minded about that. Thank you. Cheers. Thanks, guys.